suppose that the thing to start off with is how it is that I think that I can help you. So with the spiritual awakening, with the work that we do, what we do is we give you a key. So we go, here's the key, we show you how to use the key, and then we give you an experience of who you are. And all of that in one session. So by the time you walk out of that session, you've got this thing that you can take with you into the world, and you keep tapping back into who you really are. And it also allows you to know what that is. When a baby is born, like who you are is born in that moment. So you see a child born, and a parent specifically really can easily see straight away that that's who you are. That's the little person that's come to the world, and your energy and your persona and everything that you are comes vibrantly into the world. And then what happens is, as we start to age and as we start to grow, more and more pressures get pushed on top of us, and it starts to hem us in and close us in until eventually you get to that place where you're so trapped by your environment and so trapped by the thoughts and the programs in your mind that you're constantly banging up against the doors of a cage all of the time. And what I've found in the 20 odd years that I've been a therapist is that one of the big issues with therapy as we normally do it is that you're always putting out fires. So people come to you and they're going like, I'm struggling with anxiety, or I'm struggling with stress, I'm struggling with depression. And what we tend to do then is we look at, well, what's causing that anxiety, depression? Is it something that's happening in your life right now? Is it something that happened to you in the past? And then we're trying to work through the emotional content in and around that to get you to a place where you can be emotionally stable and free. But the problem with that is that life consistently keeps happening, which means that as soon as we're dealing with, as soon as we deal with one issue in the moment, then something else comes up, or something else from the past rears its head. So, as you take the pressure off of one area, then whatever else has been stored inside of there tends to rise up. So what we know from therapy is that our childhood tends to define us. And the problem with that is that as much as it defines us, it's not a true reflection of who we are. It's not a reflection of who we were born to be. And in order to undo all of that programming, all of that conditioning that's done to us by our friends, our family, our education, our society, in order to release all of that stuff and to get back to who you really are, is an impossibly big task if you tackle it with Western psychology or the therapies that most of us have access to. And they never ever get to that point they're actually aiming at. And that for me is a frustrating thing. If you're going in and you are, you're going to gym, or you're trying to achieve some sort of financial goal, at some point you need to be able to reach that goal. You need to be able to get to the place that you're aiming at. What I've found now with this approach to therapy is that if you can get in touch with the underlying self, if you can get in touch with the person who sits deep inside of all of us, you get to the place where you can eventually free yourself from all of the negative emotions and thoughts and programs that are constantly running inside of all of our minds. What we aim at doing, and the goal of doing an awakening and doing the non-dual therapy, is we try to take you back, we try to remind you of that original self, that innocent version of who you are. And the wonderful thing about doing that is once you find out who you are, once you get in touch with that part of yourself, it's charming. It keeps drawing you back into that experience. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a shortcut, a way to get back in touch with who you are, so that from that place you can start to learn to live your life the way that you were meant to live it. And so what I've found in my search for a therapy that I can believe in is that the non-dual approach to therapy is the answer. Not only has it changed my life, but it's changed the lives of the people that matter to me, so the people who are closest to me. And then it's also managed to free me from things that I didn't know trapped me in the first place. Like these programs, these belief systems, these stories that I was telling myself about who I am that have nothing to do with the real me, with who I was born to be, who I am when I'm in my happiest spaces. So when you look at Buddhist teaching, basically what Buddha talks about is moksha, or liberation. And what liberation from what? And ultimately what it is it's liberation from the mind created identity. So right now you're sitting there and you're watching this and you have an idea of who you are, and that's the trap. the fact that you believe that you're this kind of person or that kind of person, the good and the bad, whatever it is that you think you are, who you believe you are, it is a shadow compared to who you really are and what you're really capable of. At the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to find a way to help you remember who you are and then learn how to bring that into the world. So what we do with the awakening is that we show you where the door is. We give you the out, and it is amazing to watch. Like, you'll do an awakening on somebody, and the next thing you know, they're laughing or they're crying. There's just this like outpour of emotion, and what they experience for the first time is freedom. So with the spiritual awakening, with the work that we do, what we do is we give you a key. So we go, here's the key, we show you how to use the key, and then we give you an experience of who you are. And all of that in one session. So by the time you walk out of that session, you've got this thing that you can take with you into the world, and you can keep tapping back into who you really are. And it also allows you to know what that is. You can't be anything other than what you are right now, but it's buried deep underneath layers and layers and layers of self-doubt and anxieties and fears and all the traps and labels and things that have been put on top of you. So at the end of the day, all we want to do is we want to give you the key, and we want to say to you, that's what freedom feels like. And then you get to choose.